$4,000 வரை சம்பாதியுங்கள். வணிக நிறுவனங்கள் A Rasa Ride Sharing Company ARA A Rasa Ride Sharing Company ARASA.ca என்ற இணையதளத்துக்கு சென்று The ARASA Drivers ஆப்பினை டவுன்லோட் செய்து டிரைவர்ஸாக வேலை வாய்ப்பை பெறுங்கள். மாதாந்தம் $4,000 வரை சம்பாதியுங்கள். வணிக நிறுவனங்கள் ARASA இணையதளத்தின் மூலம் மளிகை பொருட்கள் மற்றும் உணவுப் பொருட்களை விற்பதோடு வாடிக்கையாளர்களுக்கு டெலிவரி செய்யலாம். தமிழில் தகவல்களை அறியாளையுங்கள். GTA பற்றி 40 ஆண்டுகள் அறிந்து கொண்டவரும் வீடு விற்பனை துறை ஊடாக மக்களால் அறியப்பட்டவருமான சிவா பிள்ளை 416-854-0005 Taxi broker licensed by City of Toronto.
Recording in progress.
Good morning, team. We are meeting end of January. That's scary. 1 month already passed. Or 12 months. 12 months money cycle. 12 months money cycle. Months almost ending. Yes, this 1 month we had some changes. We had some changes from Bank of Canada and real estate market and those kind of things. But whatever the changes is there, we don't care. What we need one deal a month, minimum one deal a month. Everybody, we are supposed to target one deal a week. That's why we are here in this early mornings, Saturday morning. Everybody is sitting here, not for fun, not for volunteer work. We want to make money and we want to go up. We want to be rich and we want to achieve our goals. That's all the only reason. But again, very first 10 minutes. Today's topic, power of sale and foreclosures, because everybody started to talk about power of sale and foreclosures because of the market changes. In our side, we had to take advantage on each and every situation. If the market goes up, there are people to buy. If the market goes down, can you mute Heron? The sound coming up. If it is market goes down, power of sale comes in. There are people waiting to get power of sale. In that case, there are people trying to get in power of sale. In that case, we take advantage and sell the units. Okay, all right. Okay, first 10 minutes, guys. Today's topic is power of sale, foreclosure, not foreclosure in Canada. Power of sale side. Kanna may talk to you guys for the lender side because we are the lender. We are one of the lender. But I'm going to tell you guys how we could take advantage for the buyer side and seller side, how to make the offer, how to read the offer, what are the clauses you can put, what are the negotiations you can do as a realtor side. I'll touch base most on the realtor side. But Kanna will give you guys some explanation about how we're going to start power of sale in case the more. I'll touch base that one too, little bit the power of sale side. We'll go through both. All right, the first 10 minutes we always have something in common to talk, to give everybody a chance for the weekend. Give 10 minutes grace time. We have to give them before everybody log in, and that's the usual procedures, and we have some question answers too. Okay, guys. The same thing I'm repeating. Don't think Silvana repeating the same wording every day. But I prepare every day before I come and talk to you guys. But repeating the same thing. Why we are in real estate industry make money? That cannot be changed. How are you going to make money? You have to do your prospecting right. If you do more and more prospecting, you can meet more and more peoples and more different prospecting method to can target the different kind of clients based on your marketing style, based on your marketing side. If you start to prospecting more and you meet more and more buyers and sellers, that's the base on your success. That's the only base on your success. You may have a knowledge or non real estate industry, or you don't going to have much knowledge. You might have high knowledge in real estate industry. Maybe if you are selling the residential real estate, your knowledge is not going to use the knowledge. If you are doing for the development and investment properties, yes, you can use your more math knowledge and other things. But you need to know the people skill, and we have to meet more people. Prospecting is important. How much you prospecting more, you get more and more clients. Okay, prospecting method, guys. I know this one. Like I'm repeating again because I want you to think again. You have to have every single agent, every single members here. You have to pick at least 7 prospecting method, and 7 pillars, 7 ways of getting clients. And always one is one. You always have a preference which one is the best one. But at least you should have another three methods in case that particular path is any break come to that chain. You can go for it. For example, again, I repeat again, same thing repeating again. Your friends and family, friends to friends. Friends and families and friends to friends are good peoples. But if you don't ask them, you don't get it. Then in that case, what you have to do, even friends to friends, relatives and everybody, at least once in a month, you have to indirect conversation, you should have them. as a regular friendship conversation, not asking them, refer me or buy a house from me, just a different kind of conversation. Sometimes your friends to friends are very good, or even good friends, you don't even call them for last 1 month. Something like that. Keep in touch with them, your friends. And once a year, for sure, once a year you have to meet them, call them for the party, as a business party or Christmas party, Pongal party, whatever the party you want to do, and meet them and tell them you are a real estate agent, how the market is going up. You have to show them you are above the ground now. You are above the crowd of you, what are the people you are meeting it, and show yourself as a different level. That's friends to friends side. Okay. Second thing, open houses. Open houses is important. Now the pandemic is over. Everybody doing the open houses. Show your face. If we have an open house, our office, I can proudly say our office and office agent, we are example for every single one of the open houses. Every single one. One at the time, 95 when I start real estate, we borrow the boat from the office, five station and go to the open house. But our office agents started open house signs 50, 60 and stand-up banners and so many things did. And they promoted. Every agents follow our office system. Everything they're following us. Open house one of the way. Open house one of the way you can recruit. You can meet more people. We have one open house in the street. All the streets supposed to know you are doing open house. That much marketing you should do for the open house side. Okay. Farming, door knocking. Just any market condition, buyer is there, seller is there. In that case, you have to do the farming. Farming means throwing the flyers out. What kind of flyers you can select? Throwing the flyers out, and after many kind of farming, I introduced you guys 40 days farming, 21 days farming, street farming, how to do it, and standing in front of the condominiums and giving out your flyers, whatever. And that's one of the methods you had to use. If you are doing the street, you had to go 14 days or 21 days to throw your flyers out or door hangers out. And after a few months, you're throwing the flyers out, you had to go do the door knocking, the very, very good timing. Saturday morning is a very good time for the door knocking if you don't have any other clients. Door knocking. And the condos, as I told you last week too, condos, stand in front of the condos every Friday 5 to 7. Every Friday 5 to 7 means nobody can change. Fridays every week the Friday is coming. We have to wear the suit and we have to wear the farming material and stand in front of the condos. Which area you select is up to you. That's one method. Electronic media, social media's marketing. Social media's marketing is going very high now. Now Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and so many things are going on. Just use it. Targeting the younger crowd. Everybody looking at Instagram. The younger people are looking at Instagram. Most of them, the hairstylists, sari blouse people, ladies sari blouse, makeup, and everything is going Instagram now. Cake making, cookie making, even selling the meat. They are advertising the Instagram. Please involve. Don't listen and go. Do something that's going to help you. Social media, Facebook is very important one. Don't think Facebook people are not looking at it. All the people are looking at the Facebook. That's one of the trend for the younger generation. Yes, if you want to buy a house, you're definitely going to ask your uncle, auntie, your father, mother, can you refer me an agent? Can you guide me? Then who is going to looking at the Facebook? All a group of people, but still the other one, even leading the real estate agent, the younger generation people. The Facebook is important, guys. TikTok videos, just to do some videos in front of your house and then post it. You can get the followers too. Learn those sites. Okay, now the power of sale is going to be your topic today. Okay, meet the mortgage brokers and ask them if any power of sales come. Any the bankers want to promote themselves, and any power of sales come, they can refer to you. Then to go out and talk to them about the power of sale, and you can get the power of sale listings. Okay, and go to the bank manager. If you have a good relationship with the branch, talk to the manager and tell them I'm bringing the deals for your branch and give me the power of sale. If anything comes up, okay, ask them. That's the way you can get the listing. And I'm in the side of prospecting now. Group speaking is one of the important one. Group speaking, you can make a group of peoples and inform them what is going on the market. That's one of the best way to do. That's you can do it if you believe on the Hindu temple. Go to the Hindu temple and talk to the priest and buy the modam and vada and everything. Go there and ask the people to come on a certain time. If the violin teachers can do their own classes and function at the Tamil temples, why not you? You can go to the church group. You can go to any religion you belong to, the Sai Baba temple or whatever belongs to. Go there and ask them. You don't talk, you don't get it. Go there and ask them. The people who come there, do it. The promotions. But if you are a person, you go to the temple most of the time. Buy the bring the plastic bags from China for 2 cents, 3 cents, and put it there with your name and address. That's kind of the biggest promotion you can get. Guys, the reason I repeated, unlimited, guys. Okay, but please do something. That will give you results. That's only, I am a believer. Whatever we put, we can harvest that one. No, I'm a strong believer for that one. And I have a question. I'm going to go touch the question and leave it to Kanna for the new announcements and everything market side. But the question I get from the agent, Silvana, can you explain to me the closing costs? What are the closing costs? What's the difference between the closing for the seller closing and the buyer closing? Okay, I'll go with the buyer closing first. If you go for the buyer closing, you are the buyer side. You are giving to the lawyer. And you're going to close the transaction. Buyer closing, first, the major part for the buyer closing, land transfer tax. You should know, every single one of you know how to calculate the land transfer tax. It's very easy. You can go to the Toronto Real Estate Board website and you can find it. Toronto Real Estate Board website, on your right side, you can go to the calculation, land transfer calculation, or else you go to Vetivel Law. Vetivel Law, that's only very easy to find. Under the Vetivel Law, very first page, you can see the calculator, and you can click the calculator, and you can put the which municipality. If it is Toronto, extra Toronto tax, and other side only. Thankfully, still Liberal government ready to make. When it was in Ontario, land transfer tax for all other municipalities, but somehow. We are still lucky, only the municipal tax only for the Toronto. Any other municipalities, we don't have any municipality taxes. And municipal tax is one of the major one for the land transfer tax. The second thing, the title insurance. Title insurance having a two kind, the lender's policy and the owner's policy. That's based on the price of the property. There is no fixed rate based on the price of the property. If you buy the bigger property, title insurance is going to be a little bit higher because bank giving the bigger mortgages and stuff. And the owner's policy and the lender's policy both going to be together, say $1,000, $1,200, the bigger properties. And the registration cost, the title, the land registry system, the lawyer has to register it, registration cost, and the mortgage registration. Registration and all those things is going to be there with the lawyers. And the lawyers' fees are very small amount. I'm not supporting the lawyers. My daughter's a lawyer. I'm not supporting the lawyer, considering their years of studies and the cost of the office running it. They charge only $500 for the lawyer fees, but people think they are lawyer fees considerably. Any other industry, legal fees is the lowest in the Toronto area and the Markham area lawyers. Why? I don't really know why they're keeping that low. It has to go up. Even the dentist, the minimum they're charging $200 for just one visit. The lawyers, they're spending 4 hours, 5 hours for one of the deal, and they're still charging only $500, but still somebody bargaining for $100 anyway. Okay, these are the buyers closing. Buyers closing. With the same time, under the buyers closing, there are some adjustment is involved. The adjustment means for the property taxes. For example, your seller already paid for the property tax until December. You are closing the transaction in the July or August. Then what do you have to do? You had to pay to the seller through the lawyer for the property taxes, the adjustment, and the maintenance fees. Sometime you are closing the transaction on the 2nd or 3rd. The maintenance fees already paid in advance on the first of the month. In that case, the adjustment is going to be there. There are some adjustments involved. That's for the buyer closing. Under the seller closing, there are loan land transfer tax, and the buyer closing side. In case you are buying the brand new property from the builder, HST is going to be there. If you're buying the brand new property from the builder, development charges is not capped. If it is capped, fixed amount. If not capped, the amount varies based on the closing date. And education levy mostly capped upfront. and some of the meter charges, water meter charges and electric meter charges, those kind of things comes for the brand new property when you buy it. Okay, and the bigger one is the development charges, most of the cases, and the seller closing. More than that, buyer closing more than that, buyer closing for the HST. If you are buying the property, you are saying owner occupying property, and the last minute you are changing it, or the assignment is and everything, you have to pay for the HST upfront to CR HST. Lawyers supposed to collect and pay the HST. That's lawyer's job. But these are the one for the buyer closing is varies. Definitely varies. And the seller closing side, seller closing. Again, the property tax adjustment is there. If you don't pay the property taxes and you are closing the month of April, from January to April, lawyer supposed to charge you and pay the fees. Same thing, the condo fees, mortgage penalties and mortgage discharge. And if you have a fixed mortgage, if you have fixed mortgage and you are discharging right now, and based on the penalties, now some mortgage discharging fees is less because mortgage interest rate is went up. Then you may have it for the lower mortgage rates, but based on the current rate and your agreement rate, the mortgage penalties come up. Even I seen in my practice over 45,000 mortgage penalties. This is not right now, those days. And other executions, there are some other executions there. The credit lines, legal cost, the court sale, and any appliance, for example, here the furnace and air condition. Furnace and air condition is rather than do leasing it, you buy the furnace in lease to own category. Lease to own category, you already have it. Buyer doesn't want to take over that one, then you have to pay for it. And these are the categories involved for the closing cost. These are the category involved for the buyer closing and seller closing. I have other question about the corporate. That's come back later. I'm going to let Kanna talk about few changes government made it. Kanna, you go ahead, Kanna.
Okay, perfect. Good morning, everyone. Uncle mentioned about prospecting very briefly about regarding power sale properties, and one of the unique parts of our industry. Sorry, my head is going to be all over the place because I have to accept people into Zoom and scroll through a couple of pages. But when he mentioned about prospecting, in any market situation, there's always an opportunity to market yourself differently to your clients. And when it comes to situations such as power sale properties, distressed properties, this morning I googled up distressed properties for sale, and there was a list of Kijiji postings of distressed properties and etc. So much classified listings. And if you have a list of investors that want to look at properties that investment properties or properties that they can get a pretty good deal on, this is a very good way of marketing yourself. Just research it up, distressed properties or power sale listings. If you go through MLS, you'll see a lot just under the sellers portion. Just put power sale, POS sometimes, or put some of the lenders, put CIBC there. Type in the sellers as RBC, and you'll see different lenders starting to list properties. Also, try to put law firm names. You'll see different law firms listing the properties, right? Especially with private lenders. There's so much opportunity out there to get the details to market yourself differently, depending on what scenario we're in. But before we delve into that, I just want to briefly discuss the recent interest rate hike by the Bank of Canada on Wednesday. I know I sent an email out to all of our agents. Around 617 agents I sent an email out to. But what I'm doing nowadays on a weekly basis, I'm sending out articles, summarized articles, giving you an understanding of what's happening in the market. And I think this will give everyone a very good stance or a little bit of extra knowledge on what's happening out there. So when you're talking to your clients, you can explain a little better, and also you'll be definitely informed, and knowledge is everything that we need. I got a couple of good feedback. So everyone that emailed me, thank you very much, or called me regarding those articles, thank you. And some of them might be going into your spam or your promotions. So just click that it's safe from the sender. Now, a few months ago in November, we had a a Zoom seminar regarding the updates by Home Life head office back in November 5th. And during that Zoom meeting, I was explaining how Douglas Porter, the BMO chief economist and managing director, he was a guest speaker there, and he was predicting in November of what we should be anticipating for this year and onwards. And if anyone can recall some of the information that I shared during that seminar, it's basically what I shared is exactly what's happening right now. The 0.5 increase by the Bank of Canada back in October, I believe October 26th, wasn't the final one. Previously 0.75 decreased to now 0.5, and now we've seen as of yesterday another 0.25 of an increase by the Bank of Canada when it comes to interest rates. This is basically telling us the end is almost near. That there is predictions of a possible another increase of another 0.25, but on May 8th we'll probably know about that. March 8th we'll probably know about that. Just want to summarize what the conversations that took during the monetary policy meeting by the Bank of Canada on January 25th. I'm just going to read out a couple of notes that I have here. So they state, as we already know, this is all generic information. Inflation in Canada still remains high, but continues to come down from its peak. We've seen that from the low 8s to the low 6s now, so which is a good area where we're heading to. Demand is still greater than the economy's ability to meet it. So we're still having issues there. One thing that's stating is that there's still a lot of business going on. The problem is there's not enough workers, there's not enough raw material to cater to the demand, which is it's good to have, but at the same time, it poses the problems that we're seeing right now. Statistics show that interest rate hikes are working. Clearly, we can see that from the inflation dropping from the 8s to the low 6s now, so that's a good thing. And consumers and businesses are cutting back on their spending. So, of course, all of our spending is being is normally documented, and if you look at the consumer price index and also the purchases, the amount of debt we have, as of last year we were holding trillions of dollars in debt, and unfortunately we still are, and we still continue to rise, but the rate of it is decreasing, which is an indication that people are cutting back on spending. Why? Of course, due to the high prices and also due to interest rate. Overall, there's a rebalance in our economy. We're seeing that by the numbers that we're reading, and what the Bank of Canada expects. Tiff McKellam, what he was explaining was the economy is slowing. Inflation should come down to the mid 3% this year. So that's their expectation, 3% within this year. Mohan, I saw your question. I'll address it very shortly. And the targeted rate of 2% should be reached next year, 2024. No insights of any decreases in interest rates yet. It's way too early for that. But the main target is to get inflation back into its targeted rate, and to overall give sustainable growth to our economy. That's the basics. What we've seen in the last 10 months, as of March of last year, what we've seen an increase of 4.25% rate increase by the Bank of Canada. That's within the last 10 months. The last time we've seen something like that was over 2 decades ago, closer to the .com era crash. And if you see my articles, I refer to that a little bit as well. Prime rate for the Bank of Canada right now is 4.5%. Primes from the majority of the banks are between 6.5 to 6.85. Some banks, yes, Uncle? Question? Okay. Some banks have different prime rates. TD is usually higher than everyone else. That's that about the recent Bank of Canada meeting. If you have any questions, please ask away, probably at the end or now. But Mohan, you asked. I bring that up here. Do you think Bank of Canada is targeting 5% increase before they freeze interest rates? And also, is there any chance of the stress test being taken away? First, let me talk about the stress test. If it's been taken away, that makes my job and our jobs attaining financing on properties so much easier. Stress test, as everyone knows, it was something that was discussed in mid 2017 with Kathleen Wynne's 15 policies to curb the prices of homes going up. It was implemented January 1st, 2018, the stress test, which basically gives a mandatory rate qualification for when anyone applying for mortgages. So at that time, it was starting in the mid 4%. It's now sitting at a little over 6% right now. Depending on the lenders we're working with, it's somewhere in the 5%, but no, unfortunately, OFC had a meeting in December and also a few talks this year. There's a lot of mortgage brokers, professionals in the industry that were bringing up concerns of qualifications, especially for buyers that were doing refinances, or not even refinances, but that were changing from one bank to another. There are multiple lenders, clients that are unable to change from one bank to another because they don't qualify anymore because the stress test is too high. So this was something that was brought up to OFC, and OFC made it clear that they are not going to be making any. Sorry, actually, this happened early this year. OFC made a very obvious statement of there's not going to be any changes to the stress test. Actually, they're going to be looking into seeing if they could do anything further to protect consumers from buying out of their normal reach. So to put back into place, stress test basically qualifies you at a higher rate than what you're buying for. Nowadays, since the interest rates have gone up so high, you're being qualified 2% higher than whatever the stress test is or whatever rate you're getting at the moment. The qualifying rates right now is approximately 8.7% to 9.2% and higher. In order for your clients to qualify for a mortgage, they're on average qualifying for 8% and higher. So let me tell you what this is. If we're looking at approximately an $800,000 mortgage, on the B side, which majority of the files we're seeing are being migrated to on the B side, you're trying to claim around a $270,000 income, right? 250, 270,000, around in that range. An average $500,000 loan, you need approximately on the A side, you probably need a close to 170, 180,000 income. Now, depending, every file is different. I'm just telling you an average number, but it is extremely difficult to qualify for something like that, especially when you're getting mortgages in the millions of dollars. It is very, very difficult. We're seeing a lot more files on the B side now versus the A side. And you know what? Lenders have the money, so sometimes they just give you the commitment. I was speaking to one of our agents, one of our very good high-producing agents recently, and he said, and he's also a mortgage broker. He was telling me when he left the office, by the time he left his office to come to our office, he submitted a deal. And by the time he came to our office, which is only 15, 20 minutes away from his, he already got a commitment issued on that file. Banks have money, they want to give it out, but at the same time, the application needs to make sense. If you have a husband and wife and their credit bureau shows previous employment at Tim Hortons, and don't get me wrong when I say this, and you're now stating that they have a six-figure salary, it doesn't make much sense. Some lenders on the B side is going through. Haven Tree Bank is doing very well. I use Haven Tree a lot. Interest rates are a little bit higher on their side, but they're pushing out a lot of deals. Community Trust doing great. Home Trust doing great. So we're seeing deals still go through. But Mohan, again, to answer that question, we don't see the stress test going anywhere soon, and I think it's something that it's good to have. But the problem is when we're sitting in a situation where there's been 4.25% rate increases in the last 10 months, it doesn't work to our advantage. But overall, the concept of having a stress test is very important. Your first question was. Okay, unfortunately, that one's not showing up. But it was regarding the rates. So we spoke about the Bank of Canada, what they're expecting. They ended, so if you get a chance to look at my article, I ended it off by giving a post-hike mortgage strategies. Right now, we are seeing a lot of issues. And again, this is what transfers into the conversation about the power of sale. Selva and me, as everyone knows, we run a very Selva runs multiple businesses. One of them being the private lending business. We opened up our MIC. MIC is doing great, but at the same time, as lenders, our views are very different. The way we adjudicate files, the way we underwrite them, and etc. We have to look at so much different classifications, so much different restrictions, and of course, we try to do the best because of the community that we serve. We have 600 realtors, and Selvan wants to be in a position where he can bail you out if a deal goes south. But we got to be mindful of things that take place in the lending area when the market isn't doing so well. We never have these type of conversations. In the last, I was in the last 3-4 years, we never really had these conversations after 2017 because the market was doing very well. Every sale, you buy a house in November and you sell it in January, and your client's making an extra $400,000. Those are the scenarios we're looking at. But now we're starting to see the decrease in homes, and also increase in interest rates. What does this mean? The biggest threat that this poses is consumers can't afford paying the mortgage. Why? Because the interest rates are going up. Now let's talk about the top banks, CIBC, TD, BMO, National Bank, Scotiabank, and etc. If you have a variable rate, everyone knows this by now, only when you hit the trigger rate, you're going to be paying an extra amount based on how much your contract price needs to be to pay down the interest. So if you hit trigger rate, that's when you're for a variable rate mortgage, that's when your payments go up. Before that, your interest, it just becomes a total interest payment that you're making, no principal. Scotiabank is one of the only banks out of the top 5 that consistently, every Bank of Canada rate hike, their mandate is the clients pay the difference right up front. So we've had clients, left, right, and center call us, hey, Kanna, how come our payments are going up? My friend at TD that has a mortgage with TD, his payments didn't go up. He has a variable, but I'm with Scotia, I have a variable, but when rates are going up. Why? Because TD's policy is set that way. They don't wait for the trigger rate. Client pays it ongoing. So we had clients with a $4,000 mortgage, $5,000 mortgage that are now paying $7,000, $8,000. And of course, it becomes unaffordable at a certain rate. And that's when, of course, the power of sale talk. But more importantly, the problems that we are seeing now, and I'm sure you as a homeowner are probably facing this at the same time. I'm sure you've heard your clients face this. Those that are going through renewals, I see a lot of questions coming in, so that's a very good thing. Salvana and I will definitely address them.
Maybe I can start to talk about the power of sale, Hannah, then you can come back to the end, maybe.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's good then.
Unless you answer this question, and I can start after that.
Variable rate mortgage, other 4 banks. What happens at renewal? Does the payment come back to original amortization? Okay, very good question. So when it comes to speaking with banks during renewal times and trying to go back and forth with them, they will keep the amortization. So automatically, majority of the lenders with variable rate mortgages, when you haven't hit the trigger rate yet, they're trying to amortize the property for a longer term. In our WhatsApp group, Ramesh posted a statement from his client stating that automatically CIBC had a 44-year amortization on that property for his client at the time of renewal or before renewal. This is something the bank does for your benefit. And again, this plays into a factor of if you are hitting the trigger rate or not, right? In this case, when it comes to renewals, talk to your bank. Try to find out where you stand. Majority of the time, the amortization has already been increased on a variable for a variable product. Now, the term of the mortgage may differ. A lot of people are asking me for pre-approval letters to try to get lower rates, and you can definitely get lower rates. Right now, the indication, the prediction is, or recommendation would be, don't stay on a variable. There is potential increases expected for this year. we won't see decreases, let's just say, until the mid or later parts of 2024, based on statistics we're seeing now. I would say 1 year, 2 year, 3 year fixed is probably the best, and that's also what there's very good rates for. You're probably paying 6.5% on a variable versus TD's offering me a special 4.89 on a 3 year fixed, on a 5 year fixed. On some 3 year terms, other lenders are offering 5.39. It's probably better for you to keep at the time of renewal to go for a shorter fixed rate mortgage. And remember, there's prepayment advantages as well. BMO, if you renew with them for 3 years, that means in 2.5 years you can move out, because they allow you for 6 months before the maturity, you can move out without any penalization. So definitely look into all of these contracts before you actually renew with them. But definitely shorter term on a fix is probably what's recommended right now. Amortization, to answer your question, they automatically do increase it. If they haven't, have a discussion with them, your representatives there. Go ahead, Uncle.
All right, we could start. Again, we talk about the power of sale and focus this side, but there's a good news too. The government of Canada always looking after the citizens. Yes, they are increasing the interest rate because not only the mortgage industry, they had to balance the currencies and all the we are depending on the imports. If the currency goes down, our imports definitely whatever we are importing from the vegetables, tomatoes to anything else, all the prices goes up. In that case, Bank of Canada need to increase interest rate to balance with the US currency and other currencies. That's part of the one mandatory part. Yes, it's affecting the real estate industry, but I heard from the two, I can name it, but two managers from the different bank branches, they said indirectly the government of Canada telling them not to start the power of sale. Power of sale, I'm going to start. When does the power of sale start? Within after 15 days of default. But the banks are keeping it, even though the mortgage payment is slow down for now up to 6 months time. They are telling you pay the balance, but they are not starting power of sale, because they are keep giving some leniency and giving some way. So they are looking for the values and value of the property as well as versus the mortgage. If they understand there's an equity, and they are giving the leniency, the indirect pressure the major banks are getting from the government of Canada not to start a power of sale right away, not to crash the real estate industry. This is a good news, guys. Other good news, as we said, we are different kind of agents. We are targeting the different kind of clans. Power of sale is a magic word. Any property come to power of sale, your clan, you will find the clans to sell that property. Everybody want to feel like, oh, we are getting something good. I bought the right product in the right price or better price than anybody else, because that's one of the magic word for power of sale word. We are in the good industry. We always win and win industry. You guys talk about the stress test. Honestly saying, the government of Canada saying the stress test came towards 2018, then the qualifying rate was higher. That's the reason, even though mortgage interest rate went up right now, they're still surviving. Most of the mortgages are still surviving because they introduced the stress test. Whatever happening, everything, we are winning. Our target, sell one house in 2 weeks time and make money. Okay, our power of sale side. Okay, power of sale side. There are two ways we can talk about the power of sale as a seminar side, the lender side as well as the agent side. In my side, I'm going to talk about more about the real estate agent side. Maybe I can tell you based on little thing about the lender side, then why the property go to power of sale and other side, and we go to the real estate agent side. If you are going to make an offer, you should know what tech stack you need. That's the one going to give you money right away. Okay. Power of sale is a question everybody asks. What is the default of mortgages and what is the default of mortgages? When the mortgage default starts, when is trigger for the power of sale to the lender? Okay, everybody we know the mortgage payment. That's a basic answer. Everybody know. But how many days? Not 1 day, not 2 days. 15 days. If your mortgage payment is delayed more than 15 days, the banks are getting the power through the mortgage documents. You sign the mortgage document to the banks. That documents you are allowing the banks. Yes, I am promising and I'm promising I'm getting the mortgage, lean out to the property, and I will pay my promise. I'm going to pay my bi-weekly or monthly. If I fail to pay within less than 15 days or more, you are giving the power to start power sale. If you ask me, can I stop that one? No. That's a standard mortgage clause in Ontario. After 15 days, they have a right to start. Right to start. That doesn't mean property go to power sale right away. Okay. What are the other factors? That's the important part. What are the other factors trigger for the power sale? Not to pay the insurance. For example, if you don't pay the insurance of the property, yes, that's in the mortgage clauses. What the banks or the first mortgage, second mortgage gas does, if you don't pay for the insurance, they go to their own insurance and insuring themselves. Otherwise, any fire comes, they don't get the recover the money back. But at the same time, that can trigger power sale. And the second thing, failing to pay for the property taxes. Yes, if you don't pay for the property taxes, that's one of the Donald Trump issues. If you know Donald Trump how to make the money in the early days, mortgage property tax default. If anybody property tax default, city put the auctions. Those guys buy the auctions houses and sell it to the higher price. Okay, power sale. If you don't pay the property taxes, you are in the category of two different places can put your house in power sale. One side is a property tax department. Property tax department look at your property and you don't pay the property tax for the last 2 years and the property tax value goes higher. The property taxes owing, if you are owing the property tax for the municipalities, that's the highest interest rate, more than your credit card. I don't know if it's a government department. We are the public meeting. I don't want to give you any interest rate, but definitely I guarantee the interest rate is more than the your credit card bill. But they have a right to sell. For example, you are City of Markham. Your property tax bill over $10,000. The City of Markham have the rights to sell your property tax owing to a third party. If somebody buy it, when they sell it, if they are, for example, today's GIC in the bank only 2%, 3%, and all other investments are 5-6%, for example, after interest increase, but the property tax interest is 24%. If you guys know anything about the bond market, you will understand more about this one. If the loan, 10,000 loan, the city charging for 24%, the 10,000 loan, they can sell it to 12,000, 13,000, 15,000 to somebody else because interest rate is very higher. The rate of interest is higher. There's a big theory is involved. But anyway, that can lead for the power of sale. If there are any mortgages, city always inform the mortgage companies. And before we go for a power of sale, can you buy this one and put in the mortgage? Yes and no answer. If there is no mortgages, you guys even heard about the auctions. City auctions, yes, I've been there a few auctions. Then city put auction. If the person is not alive or anything happened, there's no mortgages, that can even go as an auction. And second cause, your house go to power sale is property taxes. That's the reason some banks, they're asking you to pay the property tax with the mortgages. That's the only way they can stop for the lower down payment peoples mostly. Even the Royal Bank, if you take an example for Royal Bank, if you are going with the 20% down payment, you have an option. If you are going with the 10% down payment or 5% down payment, and they will say, okay, you have to pay the property taxes through them because they want to know they are collecting the property tax and paying the property taxes. The other one we even see in our company putting another mortgage on the property. If you are going with the bank, you are selling the bank only 20%. The 20% is your down payment, and you have only 10%. You're asking another 10% from third-party company to give out your second mortgages. And what happens sometimes the mortgage lawyers send the packages out to the banks, not right away. They have a time up to 90 days to send the package out. Say keep the package and send it a little bit late for the banks. That time when the bank verify, you are paying 20% only on your own down payment, and after the next day or day after, there is another second mortgage registered in the property. What will happen? Bank knows you cheated them. In that case, they can issue the notice to remove. They can say either pay off my mortgages or else I want to put for the house for the power sale. That can trigger. That's putting the secondary mortgage without informing the banks. Another one, failing to keep the properties in the reasonable state of repairs. That's the bank website. I took it today. Yes, you are telling them you're going to live in the property and there's no kitchen. You remove the kitchen for the last 6 months, and bank find out you are not living and there's no kitchen, and the property you buy, owner occupying property, you're going to live there. There's no kitchen, something like that. Okay, they can even ask you to pay back the money, or else they can go for a sale. Other thing, you're transferring the name. For example, I seen few of the papers like this. The property they're buying it, husband, wife, and the mother-in-law, father-in-law as a co-signer, and later on they're removing one person name without informing the bank. The mortgage under the 3 people's name, the title is coming. Find out they can start. And other thing, you want to build a property. You are buying the old bungalow. You are buying the old bungalow with the mortgage, and you are telling the bungalow, if the house is there, I'm going to rent out the house or I'm going to leave the house. And you demolish the house and start to build. That's been the cost is changing it. The cost change, bank can simply say, you get the house for investment rental purpose, or you bought the house for the living there and you are demolish the house, then only the vacant land is there right now. The bank, I can go on this one for another half an hour, but I'm saying mortgage default start. Mortgage default start now I'm going to talk about the realtor point of view. The realtor point of view is more important for us to make money. Okay, for example, somebody calling you, they said, I got the notice from the law firm, they are sending after 15 years of default, they're sending the notice. After sending the notice and saying that one, we get the notice for power of sale. How can I stop the power of sale? Yes, every single real estate agent, you should have the knowledge to advise your clients. That's going to give you sales. I want the sales. Okay, that's going to give you sales. For example, if somebody say that one, yes, you can stop it. Okay, you can tell them to negotiate the lawyers and pay the money for what are the default money is there with the interest and the legal fees and everything. 3 months they didn't pay, their mortgage interest is $4,000 a month. 3 months payment $12,000, and the legal cost and everything $15,000. Tell your clients to check they get the loan and pay off the mortgage. Then you can involve the clients are innocent, or they don't know how to speak English and they don't have enough capacity, or they're too busy. Even they're too busy is one of the major problems. They're under capacity level. Then in that case, you can involve and negotiating with the lawyers with the consent, and you stop the power of sale. In that case, you have a chance to sell the house one day, or else you can tell them to refinance a property, and you can find the refinancing for the private companies, for the financing private companies. That's one of our job. They can refinance it and they can hold the property and sell the property. And other thing, you can list the property. Even though power of sale they started after 15 days, they send you the notice for 35 days notice. After 35 days notice, if the property is vacant, they can start power of sale. That's been 50 days, 45 to 50 days. They can start power of sale right away if the property is vacant. If the property is occupied property, this takes a little bit longer time to go to the power of sale, but still, what will happen? You can list the property. Even though the bank already put the listing, please consider my word, because I'm telling you for our sales category. Even though bank put the listing up there in the MLS, we can only have one listing. But still, if the listing already there, still you can put the listing in the MLS. Why? There are 2 different categories, 2 different owners right now. Banks are getting the power. To list the property from the mortgage documents. That's one kind of ownership bank getting it. Recovering the money. That's the bank's category. But at the same time, the owner still is an owner. The title is showing his name. He has the right to sell the property any price he like to pay off the bank money. In that case, if somebody, the power of sale already started and the already listing there, don't go away. Go and challenge. Go and challenge. Use your marketing technique. Put the property lower price and do the multiple offers. Whatever you want to do it, try to do it, and you can list the property. Second listing can come officially, but there's a case came to us. The listing was there, but the same time our agent listed. Other companies sue us. The court dismiss because we have the rights to list the property. But there is always some conditions. If the bank put the power of sale and the accepted offer, that means another party involved. In this situation, you may get a court notice to remove your listing, but you don't know. But basically saying every situations are unique. If the power of sale listing owner asks you, just you can put the listing. Okay, all right. Now we're going to talk about handling the power of sale, not the seller side. Seller side is a bank, and the buyer side. Buyer side, the basic questions come. Basic question, agents ask me basic question under the power of sale. Power of sale, when you see the listing in the power of sale, you can see the clause B, clause A, B, C. Clause A is your own schedule. Schedule A, schedule C and D and E sometimes. Schedule B always the company's real estate company's schedules. Maybe interest bearing account and taking the ownership, anything can be B. Schedule A, whatever you don't have a space to put it in the offer, we can make as a schedule. That's schedule A. Schedule B, C, D, E come as a power of sale schedules. Power of sale schedules separately comes. The banks, they have their own schedules to put it in because there are many reasons. I will go through the reasons and explain the reason. Basic questions come under the power of sale. Whose offer you going to use, the blank offer or the offer from the bank, or offer from the lender? It depends on the power of sale lawyers. Some power of sale lawyers, they cross it out the standard offer from the Toronto Real Estate Board offer, say freehold property, offer number 100. They cross it out certain clauses. I'm going to go through the clauses and read you guys the basic question you guys asked me, and they will fill it out that particular offer. Or else they will say, okay, you can make your own offer in your system and cross it out those one until don't give a secondary job. Okay, I tell you the reason why they're doing that one. Standard clauses are there as I'll go through the offer and put the clauses. And the most of the agents ask me as a basic questions, power of sale. The first one we go, when you going there, the basic offers, fridge stove, washer dryer and everything there. Yeah, your power of sale property still sitting there. The washer dryer, the dishwasher and all those stuff sitting there. In your offer, if you put in if you put it in chattels, for example, all the chattels, what the lawyers does, they cross out everything. They don't have any rights to sell the chattel, but whatever is in there, whatever is in the house, that's coming under the power of sale. Even I was surprised by the beginning of my career with the power of sale meetings when I went there. If the owner parked the car might have some separate registration under the VIN number, different kind of registration. But if they leave the car, you can own the car. That's the power of sale. Whatever is there, it's a joke is there. Whatever is there, you own it. That's the way the joke. The appliances, they leave the appliances, yes, you own it, but you cannot put it in the offer. Even though the appliances there, anything is there as is category. The property as is condition. Property as is conditions. Even though any alteration they did, you are buying as is. Whether they have the permission to the city or no permission to the city, doesn't matter, because bank is taking over with the rights of the mortgage. They don't have any SPIS, seller information of property. Any leakage came out of the basement, and any leakage came out of the basement for years and years, bank doesn't need to disclose. Unless otherwise the property is marijuana growth property and already police cheese and is in the system. Yes, in that case, bank doesn't tell you in advance. After you make the offer, they will tell you the form of marijuana growth property. They have the rights to, they will inform you. Any legal activities is already listed in the police and the bank knows that one. Banks or any other person who put in the power of sale. And other thing, no warranty for the property, because the bank cannot give you the warranty, or bank or any institution cannot give the warranty because they never own the property. They don't have any history of the house. These are the basic factors. But there's another one. I'm going to go through the offer and I talk about the HST Planning Act and everything from the Form 100. I'm going to go through the Form 100, guys. Go through the Form 100 and I give you some idea. I feel like this is more important for you guys to win the power, to make money. In the buyer and the seller, if the power of sale offer, who is the seller? Is a mortgage company is a seller. For example, CABC Mortgages. CABC Mortgages is a seller. But CABC Mortgages, you don't put CABC Mortgages power of sale. Power of sale is an action only. It's not the ownership. The ownership, temporary ownership, right to hold the property and sell the property is CABC Mortgages. Okay, when it's come to the mortgage default, there are other cases, court order, foreclosure, power of sale. I directly went to the power of sale because that's the one going to give you money as a realtor. If you want to, if we have any question to ask about other procedures, why we want to go to power of sale rather than any other court order or foreclosure, end of, if anybody interested, ask me, I will answer it. Okay. Now I'm going through the purchase sale agreement and what are the changes we're going to do, the standard forms, either 100, 101 or 500, what other forms are there. The buyer is your buyer, seller's name going to be the bank's name, who is the one holding it. When you come down, the property address and everything as usual, purchase price. Yes, some people ask me, purchase price, can I negotiate? Other thing, yes, you can negotiate. You can put anything you like, whatever you like, but the bank doesn't want to sell it the lower price. Why? The original owner have the rights. For example, original owner, Nixon Smith, he didn't pay the money. The CABC bank taking over the property and they're putting. Okay, if the bank make more, the procedures, the bank make more money, the procedures is the bank sell the property and they take their mortgage, they pay off the mortgages and they're getting the commission to pay for the real estate agent and their bank's fees and any lien, property tax lien, anything else, they pay it off. There, if any the bank, the property tax lien is $15,000 lien is there. Of course, the lawyers has to pay for the property tax lien before you give it to somebody else. That's one of the part for from the power of sale side or the condominium fees, those kind of things. But any extra, what they had to do, the bank, the original owner had the power, they had to give it to the original owner. Original owner have the power to sue the bank if they do the right marketing. What is the marketing means? Before they list the price, the appraiser, they had to call the appraisal company and they had to list the property with a regular person, not the party related to the buyer or seller. They had to list, that's one of the regulation. And the original owner have the rights to go and sue the bank to see the process, what they did. For example, the bank putting the power of sale for $499 and somebody give the offer for $429. Within maybe the listing is there only for 15 days. They sold the property. The owner have the rights to go and ask them, how come you can sold it that fast? What are the marketing you did to make my money, make my property for saleable property condition? Do you have any property management? Did they clean the house? They have the rights to ask. Then there is a procedures is there. But as a realtor agent side, if somebody asks you give the overprice than the listing price on the price, yes, you have the rights to do that one. You can bargain the price. The lawyers, but only most of the time, the lawyer may ask if when they come down for the purchase price. Yes, you can go to the purchase price based on your buyer asking deposit. Who get the deposit? Most of the time, even though the banks put the power of sale, bank put the power of sale. Some banks, the lawyer won't receive. For example, President Joyce or Royal Bank, the Gowlings is someone handling the power of sale. The deposit money has to go to the Gowlings trust account, and they want to keep the deposit money. They always ask you minimum 5% because their commission plus HST more than 5%. They ask you minimum 5% or more for the deposit to keep the deposit in order to save the agent commission and their own money and everything. But the deposit holder, not necessary for the lawyers. Sometimes lawyers going to hold in trust, or else sometimes the banks, lawyers leave it to the real estate department, but they tell the real estate department to keep the deposit minimum 5% or more as a regular request. And when you come to the form 100 irrevocability, when it comes to irrevocability, the banks always ask 48 hours or 72 hours notice, because the lawyers, they don't need to act fast. They want to take the time and review all the offers and look at all the clauses and stuff. They will sign you back very fast, but at the same time, they always put in the listing saying that one One of the time I was listing power sale properties, at least around 5-10 properties in my career in the beginning of before 2008, those days. And always the banks communicate very nicely with you, but the email only. They don't answer the phone calls. And yes, they ask you 48 hours to 72 hours irrevocability. Completion date is the earlier date is better for the banks to close the transaction. If the property is vacant, yes, you can go lower. And the property is tenanted. If it is power of sale, just you have to take over the tenants. You have to take over the tenants for the completion date. But you may ask, you give me the vacant position. Most of the time, bank doesn't want to go through the extra step and go to the landlord to run courts and kick you out. They will reduce the price rather than give you the vacant position. That's under the completion date. Completion date depends on the property conditions. Then you go to the chattel side, number 4, and under the form 100. I'm looking at the form 100 chattels. They don't put any chattels. If you put in the chattels, you already seen there are 2 for each 2 store, and whatever is there, they cross it out and initially. That's the power of sale. The fixtures, rental item, they don't put anything at all. They cross everything out. That's up to you to handle it. And HST clause, number 7 clause, every agent get panic on that side. For example, HST clause, real estate industry, no HST until July 2010. After that, residential real estate, I'm talking about, residential real estate, there is no HST until July. After that one, brand new properties came to the real estate HST law in July 2010. And now, even though now resale properties, there is no HST, but every transaction are unique. Some resale properties may come under the HST regulation. For example, the property was using as an Airbnb, official Airbnb for last 3 years. You have a cottage, you're renting out the cottage for last 3 years, 4 years, and you are advertising cottage rental and how much money you make and everything. That's coming under the HST, even though residential property, even though under the residential zone, but the activity is different. Then it can jump into the HST condition. But the bank doesn't want to take a chance because bank getting the mortgage, bank getting the power to sell through the mortgage clauses, as I say, repeat again. In that case, will cross it out. Bank will put HST on top of included. They don't know the HST. They will put it in addition to. But they don't charge HST in the end of the transaction. You don't need to panic if it's regular real estate houses. But that's a bank process for when it's come to process it, because they want to cover themselves. In addition, they will put. But they don't charge. They don't charge 99.9%. I never seen power sale properties. They charge the time of the closing for the HST, but they had to put HST included. They had to cross it out. They put HST on top of the HST in addition to the price of the property. And if you come down, try to search future usage, no presentation. They don't put the buyer agrees for the no presentation or no warrant and any kind of things. They might cross it out. And the closing agreement, document design, inspection and insurance, the planning, the residential adjustment properties, timelines, the Family Act, number 22 Family Act, 100%. They cross out the Family Act when it's come to power sale properties, because power sale property, they don't know the original owner married or live with anybody else, as a matrimonial issues. He doesn't need to go through. One person name is in the title or 2 people name in the title, doesn't matter. Even anything is there, they're getting the power to sell from the mortgage commitments. In that case, Family Act doesn't work under the power sale clauses. The next one is UFI clause. UFI clause means urea formulated insurance. One of the kind of the insulation, they inject the house between the concrete houses. They inject the house, the insulation part, because those days there's no insulation. After 60s, the house was built before 60s. After 60s, they introduce the insulation. The older bungalows, you can see inside inside water movement from the outside wall. They bring some insulation, insulation inside, inject the insulations. That's caused the cancer. They find out those are the one causing the cancer and everything. Then they cannot remove. They cannot remove. In that case, they always putting as a urea formulated insulation. The seller disclose whether under his knowledge there is a urea formulated insulation is there or not, but doesn't apply for this power sale property. They cross it out. Even though the property is after built in 80s, after built in 50s, doesn't matter. They cross out the urea formulation insulation because the power sale property, they don't want to go through any legal issues. But the buyer side, you use your common sense. Don't worry about the urea formulated insurance these days, but the property built before insulation, those insulation was used during 60s. And even though the house using urea formulated insurance, but in my experience, guys, I'm not misleading you. In my experience, they always say, close the windows and doors for 3 days. After that, take the air quality and test the air quality. That air quality test, the termination, the quality of the air is equal to maybe 1 cigar smoke somebody in the house. Less than that one. Less than that one. That's mean if you open the door and close the door, no, you don't find those ones. Not to open the door or windows, anything 3 days. They're very normal because so many years pass by. And houses built after 70s, late 70s, and after that one there is no UV at all. In that case, they close the UV closed. You don't need to worry. You buy it as it is. You don't tell the clients not to worry that much. And when you go there, when you go down legal accounting and environmental, the lawyers may close those ones. They cross it out those ones because that's a very normal one. And when you go to the schedules. When you go to the schedules, you may have a question. When there is a power sale property, can I put the mortgage condition? Can I put the appraisal condition? Can I put the inspection condition? Yes, anything you like, you can do it. Nobody going to say don't put the condition. But if somebody go without condition, of course they get the chance. But if you want to go with the condition, you can go with the condition. Maybe the lawyers doesn't get any other condition. They get it. But after the inspection condition, if you advise the clients, oh, there's some problem in the house, can I reduce the property? Will I value? Never. You are buying as it is. Even though there's a water, there's a 1 feet water in the basement. You are buying as it is. They're not going to do anything because they are selling it. That's it. You buy and do. Reduce the price. That's a different story. Anything, no remedies. Okay, basically saying there is no remedies. You are putting the condition for appraisal. The appraisal come low. You can with the condition you can get rid of. You can go out from the transaction. But only time if the marijuana growth or any legal activities that's already listed in the system by the police or any reason they disclose to the bank. The murder, suicide doesn't apply to this situation. Doesn't apply. Only you can put the condition. That's up to you. You can verify the conditions. But there's no remedies after the condition. Only remedy, you can get out from the transaction if you don't want it. That's the only thing you can do. And under this side, Schedule B, mostly Schedule B, you can go with the other real estate office. Schedule B, you can go as is. And Schedule C's, the bank want to protect themselves. The pages and pages Schedule C you can see. Some private companies put only 2 pages, and some places I see even Schedule C, D, and everything. Depends on the nature of the property. But okay, why is that means bank want to protect themselves. For example, your bank is getting the power from somebody's property. If the courts and the government of Canada supporting the owner and bank, if the banks want, if somebody want to pay off the mortgage, before the closing date, the courts doesn't want to take the shelter out from anybody. If they say somebody owned the property, that's their shelter, that's the place they are living there. Okay, the power of sale, and the court's lenience to the person, even though day before closing date, if they go and pay the money, the mortgage company has to take the money. They cannot refuse to take the money out because if the settlement. In that case, bank wanted to put in the close. They don't want to sell the property. They already have an offer and they can't able to close. In that case, buyer doesn't want to go and sue them. I left the house from the place I live, and now I can't close the transaction. Bank have the protection. Not only this one is a basic one I'm telling you. there are so many protections bank going to have it. For example, I can tell you the worst thing can happen for the power sale. People's leaving from the power sale. For example, they're vacating the house. When they're vacating the house, they are not going to vacate the house with a happy mood. They bought the property to live there, and they can't able to pay the mortgages, and genuinely they are leaving the property. They damage the properties with the time they move. Even the worst thing can happen to the power sale property. They put the concrete in the basement toilets. That's the worst thing can happen for the people. Always say that one. That's worst thing can happen for the power sale property, because the client is leaving with the unhappy way. Some client, when they leave the unhappy way, they feel like the problem is the bank, not them. In that case, they can damage the properties. Anything can happen, but any damages come, bank not going to accept it. That's your problem. You are taking the chance and getting the property. Then you ask me, Silvana, what is your advice based on your experience? What is your advice? Can I go for the power sale properties or stay away from the power sale properties? The answer is a very straightforward answer. My experience, guys, whether it's surprising you maybe, any power sale listing sells. Everybody buy, they feel like I buy the better price. Not all the power sale properties are better price sometimes, because it's a magic marketing. Magic marketing, the buyers may pay extra money to get the power sale properties because they feel like they are getting something cheaper. Whether it's cheap or not, they feel like they're getting cheaper. Then the power sale properties cannot go cheaper. As I said, the banks can sue them afterwards if they doesn't go through. Then power sale property, even though you don't get the remedies, please check the inspection condition and open up the water for the washroom, basement washrooms and everything. See the water flow. Some damages you cost very high to fix it. But if we ask me which is the best thing to buy the power sale properties, just the condos. If the condos come to power sale, that's the best thing to buy. I can close my eyes and say 200% power sale properties are best thing. If you can get the better price, there is no surprise. Why? You are buying only the properties. The external side is the condo management is going to do the external side. Second thing, CMA-CH power sale. I didn't see it for last 10 years, guys. But what happened? The mortgage. Somebody had the mortgage is still less than 20%. Less than 20%. Some major banks, like again, I want to pick the Royal Bank. Banks, they want to have a reputation with the CMA-CH. In that case, any power sale come, they don't give it to CMA-CH and get the money from the CMA-CH. They do their own power sale and collect the money. They don't give the trust to the CMA-CH insurance company. But the same time, the power sale, say out of the ABC bank, they already have a CMA-CH mortgage. They go through and handle all the power sale process and wait and collect the money. There's already a good mortgage, clean mortgage. They already have insurance. They'll tell the CMA-CH, okay, you take over this particular mortgage and pay me my insurance. I have the insurance. You pay me my money back. In that case, what happened? CMA-CH put the power sale. If the CMA-CH power sales, if the power sale seller is a CMA-CH, I involved. Honestly saying, I involved with my clients those days. CMA-CH insurance power sale, you can have a good bargain because that property come from the bank first, at least once from the banks, and after that go to CMA-CH. You can play around a little bit more for the CMA-CH power sale. Okay, the power sale side, guys. Power sale side is good for marketing. If you put a power sale, if you get a power sale and if you list the power sale, definitely the people are waiting the line to get the power sale because they always feel like they are getting the better transaction, better deal. They get a better deal. Anything you guys want to know about the power sale? Okay, Kana, do you have anything to talk?
Yeah, no, I think when it comes to the topic of power sale, you covered it from A to Z here. But everything's basically good with what you said. Let me just summarize a small little portion of Silvana spoke about. He actually spoke about the lenders and the benefits as agents dealing with power sale. Let me just very minimally summarize the process of power sale in Ontario, the province of Ontario, from the lender perspective. So the timeline would basically start off from when the borrower defaults. Silvana explained this very nicely. It's not just about your monthly payments or missed payments. It's about any of the mortgage covenants. So any of the It could be not paying your property tax, not having the proper insurance, the failure to insure your property, even property damage, or illegal use or any activities that shouldn't be happening there. All of those could all of those gives reason and rights for the lender to pursue power of sale, not just about the mortgages, right? If you're late on mortgages. So the process, of course, is the first process would be wait for there to be a default. After 15 days of a default, you can pursue with power of sale process. The second step would be after waiting for a default is to deliver notice of sale. The banks would issue the lawyers would issue a notice of sale on behalf of the lender. The notice of sale is usually taped onto the front door of the property, and also there's registered mail sent to any of the owners, guarantors, the owners of that property and their addresses. If it's a rental property, there'll be a registered mail sent to the owner's principal residence. And they're always hand delivered and taken and accounted for. Once a notice of sale is issued, so when I brought this up as well, there's a specific time period that allows the borrower, the mortgagor in this case, to redeem the mortgage. Again, that notice of sale period from the and redemption period is usually 35 to 40 days. Again, depends on if the property is vacant, or if there's someone living there, if there's a tenant there. Timeline for that changes. So again, we have a default. You wait 15 days. The lender uses a lawyer, and then they provide a notice of sale. From that day, there's a 35-day or 40-day redemption period. Again, there's when it comes to redemption period, I think it's important to know that it's not just about redeeming and bringing the mortgage back into good standing. Let's just say there's many reasons for a power of sale to pursue. In this scenario, well, let's look at two scenarios. One client doesn't pay mortgage. There's mortgage arrears for 2-3 months, or they're failing to renew the mortgage and they're default in payments, or if there's a situation like there's no, you haven't received, the lenders haven't received the proper insurance, fire insurance on the property. So for a situation like that, let's just say for fire insurance, if there's a power of sale, then you can bring that mortgage back into good standing. The lender is doing what they need to do within their powers to make sure they have the right documents, and they go ahead with power of sale. So within that 35-day period or 40-day period, then you can bring that mortgage back into good standing by getting the fire insurance, getting whatever covenants that you've breached the contract with. But in situations where there's missed payments, it really depends on the lender. You can bring it back into good standing by making those payments, or the lender could completely say, hey, you know what, we're going to keep the mortgage with you. We want to be discharged in full. In situations like that where you can't redeem the mortgage to bring it back into good standing, that's when you go into the next step. And that step is, the lender taking possession of the property and pushing for the power of sale. Again, this is the process that goes through with the court, and lawyers would be to obtain a writ of possession, which is basically the lender taking possession of the property and then pushing it out to sale. When the sale process takes place, so what I mentioned, it has to be it has to be sold publicly. So on MLS, there has to be announcements made on publications, any publications that are available to the public, news advertisements or articles of media of any sort, and whenever the property is listed. So I want to mention again, it's always sold on an as-is basis, because you don't know what issues may take place with the property, and of course the lender is not going to take any responsibility for that. From there, it goes on. If the property sells and the lender, let's just say the lender's lent $500,000 on the property, and the property sells for $800,000, and there's enough money to recover those the lender's funds, then everything is perfect. The excess funds goes back to the borrower, right? It's not like foreclosure, what we see in the US a lot, or what we've seen back in the days. The lender does not keep the excess funds. Everything goes back to the borrower. And in situations of the lender does not have enough money to recover their funds, then they can file a writ of execution for the remaining sums owed. and that process would take place. That's basically the summarization of how Power Sale is. One recent article, 15 days ago, Toronto Star came out with an article. I'll see if I can share this in the group with everyone. Toronto Star has that subscription policy, but let me see if I can send it. But the article basically reads in nice big bold letters, help, must sell in 30 days. That's exactly what the article reads, the Toronto Star article. It was published on January 13, 2023. Why? Because there's a lot of power sales taking place. Not a lot, actually. It's easy for us to use terms like that, but recently, it's been all over the news. If you've been keeping up with it, there's a townhouse in Brampton. It was bought in 2021 for $1,260,000, and the power of sale took place last month. It sold December 2022 for $919,000. There was a difference of approximately $350,000. So that one, with that property being sold, and it sparked a lot of conversations regarding power of sale, due to the interest rate hikes and the fall of the market, real estate market. But CMHC, I looked at some stats through CMHC, and the delinquency rates are still very, very low. Nationally, there is a 0.14% of power sales, or let's just say delinquent mortgages. Out of the 0.14 national mortgages in default, in the province of Ontario, it is 0.07%. And out of the province of Ontario, of that 0.07%, in Toronto, there is 0.06% of delinquent mortgages. So if you look at the greater scheme of things, this is not a big number. This is nothing to suppose that there is a massive the default rates are going up. There's nothing here that will really incite fear. What we're seeing now is, yes, some people can't afford the payments. That makes sense. But the majority of the power of sales that we're seeing is from the private side, from private lenders, individuals. And it's not even that people can't pay. It's more that private lenders don't want to renew clients. Let's just say they bought a property in 2022, peak of the market, $1 million. If they do the appraisal right now, it might be at 900,000. So the lenders just don't want to renew you. So what they say is, hey, I'm giving you 90 days notice before your maturity date, pay us out. And when situations like that happens, the client tries to refinance and pull out the funds and repay the private lender. But then, the valuations drop, they can't get the full amount. Those type of scenarios are causing the power of sales right now, along with a few individuals that can't keep up with the interest rate hikes. But other than that, nothing too much to be fearful of.
Okay,
yes,
I have serious note for everybody here now. Okay, please listen carefully, and whoever is in the group, and you can pass it to our other members. Okay, the flipping tax, as we talk about since January 1st. If somebody sell it, they're going to be under the different category for the tax system. Okay, we are real estate agent. We are not tax specialists. We don't need to hold anybody. We don't need to give anybody not to sell the properties. Then you're losing your business. There are ways to find it. There are ways they can sell the property and they can pay the taxes. For example, all this time they was getting the capital gain tax, less tax. You don't make extra money. You make your own commission. So whatever the HST, they buy the property and they pay the house. They move in or they don't move in. They buy the nature of the property. The nature of the situation. They bought the property from the builder. That's not your job. They had to get the knowledge from the accountants and the lawyers, not from us. Or believe me or not, I got the call at least around 10 phone calls for this month alone. They close the property and this month, and can I tell them to sell or not to sell? That's not your question to ask. You are not the tax specialist. You are not the specialist for. You are not the specialist for the tax advice or any other advice. Like they had to go to their own accountant and ask this advice. You advise how to sell the property. You advise how to sell the property in the higher price. You are target to make more commission for the deal staging and making more commission. All right. Other tips I'm going to tell you today. I posted today in the Home Life group and social group. I don't know how many of you get the chance to read. That's Kannan sent it to me. This Cherry Chance, the real estate lawyers video 2 days ago. if we are buying the property, if we are buy the property under your name, again, please listen 100% carefully. If we are buying under your name and selling it, you have to declare it profit or loss under the business category. That's the nature of the transaction. But if you going under the corporation again, under the corporation side, whatever the gains come, you pay less tax. If you suffer any loss, that loss you can carry it forward to other years, other properties whenever you buy and sell for other properties under the corporation. Even this loss, business loss, can be carried forward under the corporation category. If you have any profit, you pay. If you have multiple corporation, 15%, and this is the only corporation you have, 12.2, 12.5 in the different provincial regulations. Okay, in that case, there's a way to skip the tax, pay less tax buy the property under the corporation and flip it over. Again, as a realtor, tell them to go and check with their lawyers or accountant. Your job only list the property and sell the property. Thank you very much. Thanks, Kana. Thanks for your help. Thanks, guys. Good luck and sell more houses.
That's all we need to do. Sell more houses. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Take care.